Yeah. Hey, how is everybody doing today? Welcome back to another episode of Soul Flow Conversations, where we have some grown folk conversations without being disrespectful to each other, guys. I know disrespect is all the rage right now, but we have grown folk conversations. We talk about all the conversations regarding men, women, our behaviors towards one another. And we also talk about trending topics and things that are interesting for us to talk about that you see all the time in social media. And we're just going to really give it a good world and perspective, to try to help someone. We ain't going to be able to help everybody, but someone might pick up the message and, have a word, with themselves. So today, here on this episode of Soul Flow Conversations, as we wait on our host, our co-host, Miss Jessica Fields, talking about how to block toxic energy, how to handle toxic energy, and how to channel the right energy towards yourself. As a lot of people I see are really struggling in the dating field, they're really struggling in finding their person. Sometimes people leave their own families. Sometimes people, in doing so, they have so many roadblocks. All of us do. We all have those challenges and stuff like that. Some of your lives might be in a really really good space and stuff like that, and you've been able to handle it in such a way where it's healthy for you and your family or anybody that's within your close circles. And sometimes you got some strong circles, you some strong close circles, and then on the flip side, you got some that aren't so strong. And a lot of the times, what I've been seeing in some of these relationships, a lot of these behavioral patterns that has been enabled is just really really toxic. And I'm not just tossing that word out there because a lot of the times people use certain words too much and they use it in such a way that they want to push a particular narrative. And I don't think that that's the way those particular words should be used, because sometimes people call toxicity, call things toxic when they're uh, being held accountable for something, or they'll call. I've seen y'all seen that. Now I've seen where when the man is asking a woman a question and she answers, and then he asks another question and he gives an opinion that really is a legitimate opinion or a question right back to her. She'll pop her balloon saying that he's argumentative, he's toxic, he's giving. That's the thing that they love to say, he's giving or they're giving. No, he's not giving anything. He's just giving you some energy to get some questions answered so that he can know whether or not you might be a good fit. Instead, you will dismiss him and deflect and then label it something that it isn't. So toxic doesn't fit everything. And for those of you who are asking, well, what is your definition of toxic? Well, anytime the energy changes to a negative tone, anytime that there is abuse, physical, mental, emotional abuse, that's toxic. Anytime that a woman or man, for that matter, chooses to embarrass the other person in front of other people in public or behind closed doors, that's toxic energy. Anytime that you are manipulative, you're narcissistic, and that you don't accept responsibility for anything that you're doing that affects another person in a negative way, that's toxic. If somebody expresses something to you emotionally that you made them to feel, and then you then deflect, dismiss what they're saying, and make it about you or turn yourself into the victim, that's toxic. And though that's my opinion, that's, you may or may not agree, but that's my opinion. That's what that looks like to me. And I've seen so many examples of that in relationships on social media, where people are filming certain things, And you know, and the crazy side of things is that some people will break up with a person and still allow them access to their lives. And it affects them. And it affects them and it affects them. Then they'll start whining about it. They'll start complaining about it. And they're not ever looking into the mirror to say, I'm actually allowing this. So I'm going to cut it off cold turkey. And, you know, and I've had people make the excuse to say, well, you know, that's easier said than done because, and they'll give all these host of reasons, including sexual, including kids, including like they'll pick as many reasons as they can to make it make sense to themselves as to why they're remaining in a toxic situation. And those relationships are over technically, but they're still allowing that person access into a realm where they don't belong anymore. So if that's the case, you really are essentially not being fair to yourself, because what's happening is now that you're still enduring this stuff, and these people, they, whether it be female or male, they are seeing what you are allowing, and they're going to ride the wave until they can't ride it no more. They're not going to give you the cheat sheet. You just got to figure it out. And once you figure it out, they know they're wrong. They're going to do everything they possibly can do. Now, I've heard the side of it from women that they'll ask the question. She says, well, why is it that when you have a good woman and the woman is doing good for you and you know, and she can't take no more, and so inevitably she breaks up with him, why is he now trying harder than ever to get back to her and show her this and show her that? Why now? You've already beat the horse till it was dead. So why are you now giving all this energy that you should have been given when you actually had me? Why are you now giving that energy? And I'm gonna tell you something. Like, and some guys, they do that. Some guys, they literally do that because they see that they can no longer take this woman for granted. Then they've gone out and played the field or did whatever, and they see that the other side of the grass isn't greener. The grass on the other side of the fence, it definitely isn't greener. And she's definitely not better than the woman that he just took for granted. So now he's going to try to save face and go and show her, I can show you this, and he's making all these promises, and he's exactly who he's shown himself to be. You know, and I will say there's a lot of the times when you see guys like that, what'll happen is they will do what you have been allowing them to do. And a lot of women say, well, I can't control a man. Actually, you can. You guys are way more powerful than you give yourself credit for. And that's just a fact. And it's been a fact throughout history. That man has been enabled because once that guy lies to you, you get mad, huff and puff, but you allow him to lie again or cheat again or hurt you again, meaning put his hands on you, and verbally is abusive and stuff like that. Once you allow someone into that realm of yourself, yeah, you can expect more of the same. Hey, Mrs. Fields, how you doing?
Welcome, hey, I'm here. Hold on, Billy's giving me a hairbrush before I go on camera. Thank you. Not
it's
that
okay.
brush.
I can relate. It's
brush.
Okay. Tell Billy
that
I can relate.
Not a regular brush. Sorry. I know y'all don't understand about brushes because y'all don't have no hair.
Oh, I can understand. Look at all that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you bring me a brush? I was like, can you bring me a brush right quick? Because he was talking to me. We got like kids over. It's been hectic.
Oh, okay,
yes, that brush. Thank you. That is a regular brush. Thank you, sir. Love you. You want to say hi to Daddy?
Billy. Good job, Billy.
Here, hold on. Say hi to. Hold on.
What's going on?
Good job, Billy. Good job.
See?
Good job with the brush, Billy. Good job.
What y'all talking about tonight? What y'all talking about tonight?
Tell her to make a wig. My topic for tonight is we're talking about blocking toxic energy and how to channel the right energy to you, yourself, your situation. And I'm giving some examples of what toxic energy is for those people who want a definition from me, in my opinion, about what toxic energy was, and and how to circumvent that, and stuff like that. And then I've just been giving some examples of what some toxic energy looks like, and I haven't gotten into the fixing it or what you should do, but we just giving some right now. I'm just giving some examples of that.
Okay, cool. All right, this sounds like a good one. I'll be in on the call in a few. I'm gonna let Jessica jump it off, and I'll be back. I'm gonna let y'all get started. Right. I know you about to play your intro, right?
No, we already live.
Oh, you already live. I thought you did.
I was late talking to you.
Oh, I thought you.
It was his fault.
I like the intro.
Do the intro.
I like that. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
We got another one. We got another one for you. We got another one.
I like that. There you go. So yeah, this is gonna be a good conversation. I like that.
All right, I done brushed my hair now, y'all. I had to brush my hair, y'all.
Oh, you can run fast now. Oh, you aerodynamic now. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Billy, you gotta run. She taking it for a run for our money. All right.
Okay. I'm here.
All right. Hey, how you doing?
Whew, I'm all right.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm good now.
All right.
Okay. So continue.
I'm just gonna reiterate real quick what I was saying and whatnot was about the first part of it is how to recognize and block toxic energy and whatnot, and a lot of people they might ask me, well, what's your definition of toxic energy? Because there's always those ones out there that say, well, what's toxic to you might not be toxic for somebody else. Okay, this is what I feel like toxic energy is. Again, anytime someone is narcissistic, meaning that they dismiss, deflect anything that another person, like especially in relationships, if you're in a relationship or a marriage or something like that, and someone blocks or redirects your concerns or your feelings, your thoughts, and they don't give any acknowledgement to it, that's literally toxic, because that person is really making you feel like what you feel is irrelevant. Anytime someone is abusive, whether it be very verbal, whether it be emotional, whether it be mental, physical, if there are any of those types of embarrass you in public, emasculate you, come down on you as a woman in public or behind closed doors, doesn't matter where it is, that is toxic energy. Anytime someone is so argumentative that they refuse to listen to anything that you have to say, and they invalidate anything that you have to say, because to them it's not as important as what they have to say, that is toxic energy. Ms. Jessica, she may have another thing to add to what she feels toxic energy is, but that is kind of what it looks like. To me, that's those are some examples of what toxic energy looks like to me. Jessica.
So here's what I'll add. I have to keep my camera off for a moment. What I would add to that is there was a lesson I was taught a long time ago, And it was actually by one of my district managers. And he said, you can use this in business, you can use this in real life, but it all holds true. And I listened to him, and I will never forget this lesson. He said, you have 3 types of people in your life, whether it's in business, whether it's in family, friendship, whatever. He says, you have those who have a negative impact on your life. You have those that have no impact on your life. And then you have those that have a positive impact on your life. And he says, now, obviously, the people that have the positive impact, you're going to keep those people around because they're having a positive impact on your life. And then, of course, the people that have a negative impact on your life, you're probably going to be more apt to get rid of because they're having a negative impact on your life. He said, but the problem is, a lot of times what people miss is they keep those people with 0 impact in their lives. So they're not impacting you in a positive way, nor a negative way, but they're not adding any value to your life at all. They're not teaching you a lesson. And that's a form of being toxic, in my opinion. Because if you're not adding anything positive to my life, I can't have you in my life. If you're not adding anything negative to my life, of course, I cannot. I mean, if you're adding negative to my life, of course, I cannot have you a part of my life. But I think we become stagnant with people who have 0 impact because it's like, well, they're really not hurting me. They're not helping me either, but they're not hurting me either. And we hang on to those types of people because of that. They're not hurting me. They're not helping me. They ight. They cool people. But we have to break the cycle of that type of toxicity that people, they look past that. Where that person doesn't have a impact on your life. Those are majority of the people we hang on to. Because again, we see the positive, we're like, yes, we're going to keep Dedrick in our lives. And they see the negative, nope, we're going to get rid of Maurice. I said Maurice because he's not here yet. And he's going to listen to it later and yell at me. But anyways, I didn't mean that in a bad way, of course. I'm just joking. So we'll get rid of Maurice, we'll keep Dedrick, but then we'll have, like, let's say Tim, and maybe he has no impact either way, but we'll keep that person around, but that person doesn't have an impact. And that can be considered toxic too. And I think that that's one of the most toxic people that we can actually keep around that has no impact one way or the other. It's kind of like a boulder. It's kind of like just a weight on it, if that makes sense. I don't know if I made that make sense.
It does. When it comes to people who don't have really no impact, and being stagnant is a trait that you don't want to hold on to, and that's true. We have to make sure we understand what we need to do in those particular cases, because we can't allow that person or persons to dictate where we go, because you have to understand some people fight for their limitations, so you got to let them keep it. You can't sit there trying to convince another person to be something that they just really aren't. So if they're just there, they're just there, and that's okay. But you have to make sure you are responsible for your response to them just being what they are. And like you said, they're not toxic as far as giving you a negative impact, but they're also not adding anything to your life. Like you said, adding value to your life. So you have to make sure you don't allow that trait to trickle down into your actions that turn into inaction because of them. Because they're stagnant, it's going to force you to be stagnant. So you have to make sure you understand that. Yes, they're a good person. Got nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with your reaction to how those things affect you, if that makes sense, and stuff like that. So Jessica, you're spot on with that that quote. when it comes to that. But you just got to be very careful not to allow those things to rub off on you.
Right. Right. And like you said, I'll reiterate that. It's not that that person is a bad person, but that person is a stagnant person. So if you're looking to achieve other things or you're looking to, to reach other goals, those are not going to be the people that you want around them. And, toxic can mean so many different things. So toxic doesn't necessarily mean like they're the worst person in the world. Toxic could just simply mean that they're not good for you and your accomplishments and what you're trying to follow and what you're
Right.
trying to
Right.
do. So those are the types of people
Mm-hmm.
that like are that anchor on your ankle where they're weighing you down because they're not on the same. It's like the saying: if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a new room. You need to find a new room. If
Yeah.
you're the smartest person in the
Yeah.
room, you need to find a new room because you want to continue to elevate and you want to continue to surround yourself with people that are about elevation and not being stagnant and not I'm staying where they are. So again, that's not to say that those people are bad people. I'm not saying that, but they're happy where they are, and sometimes you got to leave people where they are. And that's okay. You
Yeah.
can still
Yeah.
call them and check on them and see how they doing. I'm not saying that,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to break away from those types of people, depending on what it is that you would like to accomplish in your life and what you want to do.
And I'm glad you brought that up because and we said this on a different show, but where we was talking about Snoop Dogg and the hood where he's from. And the guys that he used to hang out with and roam the streets with and stuff like that expected him to be the same old Snoop, or Calvin, whatever they called him. You know what I'm saying? They expected him to be that same dude. But the difference is that Snoop grew up both mentally, physically, and and he grew out of their little clique. He grew from them, and he said he tried to hold on to that and go back to them and let them know, hey, I'm still me, but I don't want to stay stuck here in the hood. I there's the whole world I want to see. There's a whole lot of things I want to do. So some of them called him a sellout. Now that's negative. That's true. That's the other side of toxic. That's the negative side of toxic, to where, yeah, they can have a very negative impact on your life, and stuff like that. So they weren't just standing around doing nothing. They was doing a whole lot of the wrong thing. But that's just one example. And he had to separate himself from those old people and those old mentalities, because he saw that they weren't trying to grow. They weren't trying to do anything else. They was trying to stay loyal to the wrong things. So he had to move on. Like he still gets respect in his hood and stuff like that, but he had to do what he had to do to better his life, because he now had a family. He now had a wife. He now had things that were positively affecting his life. So he had to remove himself from those things. So, and nobody ever said that's going to be an easy transition. Okay, let's just be clear about that. But sometimes it's a necessary thing.
Hmm. Right, and again, it's about growth and understanding that you know once you hit a certain, and it doesn't even have to be anything about money, your status as an entertainer or anything like that. He just used Snoop Dogg as the example of it. You could just be a regular person, and you make your attempts and you achieve them, and then yeah, you might go back to the hood and they be like, oh yeah, we ain't seen you in 2 years. You were sellout and this and that, and it's like, no, I just grew. I realized that there were things that were better out in the world, and I'm not going to remain a part of the toxic environment that keeps their how can I put it, that keeps the knee on my neck. I'm
Mhm.
gonna beat the odds, and
Right,
people already said that I couldn't do this or I wouldn't do that,
right,
and I
right.
hit it a point. to make sure that I beat those odds. And unfortunately, excuse me, unfortunately, a lot of times when that does occur, we're called sellouts. Even myself, with our home and where we live, I'm just using an example. Like people be like, "Oh, you think you bougie? You bougie? You got that big house out there on all those acres of land?" And I'm like, I don't think I'm bougie. I just bought a house. Like I wanted a house for my children to have stability, and when I die, they get the house, and it had nothing to do with me wanting to be better than anybody. It just had to do with growth and doing better, but that's where we are sometimes with some people, not all.
Yeah. And you got to let them be where they are.
And I let them be where they are.
Absolutely.
And that having said, let me say this real quick. And Dedrick kind of knows. Well, no, we've been doing this for a couple years now. Dedrick knows me pretty well, and I let people be where they are because it doesn't bother me what you do or what you say. And we have to get to a point where we have to stop letting things that people say bother us. We have to be different sometimes. The world is a different place than it used to be. And how can I put it? They want us to remain in a certain place, and when we defeat the odds of not being in that place, it's a problem. But that should be all the more reason to get to that different place, if that makes sense. Like when you tell me that I'm not going to do this, or I can't do this, or I'm not going to be this, I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, now I definitely am about to do that. I'm definitely about to do that.
Right.
Just because you said I can't. Oh, I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you better than I can tell you. And a lot of us need to adapt that attitude so that we can rise. And it's not even just about proving them wrong, because even in proving them wrong, we're doing right by ourselves. We're doing right for our family. We're doing right for our children. We're doing what we're supposed to do. Sometimes we might need a little motivation. But at the end of the day, did it hurt? It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt to prove you wrong. It didn't hurt me. I'm just saying. So again, going back, toxic just doesn't mean red flags. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Toxic just doesn't mean like red flags that you see X, Y, Z, and oh my God, that's a red flag, and I need to watch out for that. Sometimes toxic can mask.
Speaking of red flags.
Oh God!
Right.
Oh God!
You took the words right out of my mouth. I said you said red flag, and look who popped up. Oh, that's
too funny. Oh, please continue. My apologies.
That is too funny.
Hi, Maurice.
What's up?
How are you today?
Doing quite all right. How about you doing? How about
you? Maurice.
You look good.
I'm doing wonderful, Maurice.
You look good. Look at that smile. I love it.
Well, thank you, Maurice.
Hey,
that's probably gonna be the nicest thing you say to me tonight.
So thank you. I always say nice things to you, man. You just don't appreciate it all the time.
Hey, Maurice, when you said that, I had to stop smiling. So people would say, "Well, who was he talking to?" I had to stop smiling. I'm like, God, dog it.
What are you talking about?
I done forgot what I was saying now. Y'all making me snort and laugh. Oh God.
That's good.
You were saying toxic energy. You said toxic
red flag
can sometimes not
toxic
be red
doesn't
flag.
necessarily have. Yeah, toxic doesn't necessarily only boil down to red flags. Sometimes toxic can just be toxic can be your best friend can be toxic because they don't want to see you out achieve them.
Yeah,
Toxic could be a family member. It could be so many
that's still a
things.
red flag, though.
I mean, it's a red flag, but we don't see it because they don't put it to the forefront. They don't they don't they don't display
They're
that red
hiding.
flag.
Yeah, they're hiding the red flags.
Right. They don't display the red flag. But if you actually pay attention, you'll be like, wait a minute, you don't even want me to succeed. Every time I say I got a promotion, you're like, oh, no, you got a little promotion.
You think you all
Good
that?
for you.
Now your head all big. Yeah.
Right. So sometimes those little
Yeah,
signals,
I hate that little. I hate that word that Jessica just used. That
that
little promotion, like
right. Oh, you got a little raise, you got a little promotion, or you at your little job,
you
and you
got
like,
your little new
oh,
car, or you got your little new car.
right.
Haters.
So toxic doesn't always necessarily need to be this big, huge red flag. It could be the subliminal um red flags that you overlook because they disguise themselves as your friends, your family, and things like that. So it's important to watch out for those people too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna shut up, and since Maurice is here, we're gonna give Maurice the floor to say. We got about 15 minutes of his rebuttal right now. I'm gonna go ahead.
Talking about. Yeah, I might agree with you.
I'm joking with you.
So,
Damn.
so what we're talking about right now is how to recognize and block toxic energy, and how to. The second side of things is how to channel it to the right energy and stuff like that, or and how to draw the right energy to yourself and stuff like that, or to people that you care about. If you see them inside of absorbing a whole lot of toxic energy. But the first part of it is how to recognize and block toxic energy.
I think my answer to this is gonna be really man focused rather than women focused. I think women have to deal with a whole different set of nuances because they play different games than what men do, and how men focus and how men kind of organize themselves to be able to be successful. How to block it? The first thing that you got to recognize is who you are, man. If you don't know who you are, it makes it difficult, and it's that much more difficult if you weren't really raised in a balanced family, right? Because I always say that mothers raise their children to have a good sense of self-identity, and fathers raise their children to figure out what they're made of, right? So they're both, both these upbringings are very necessary. So if you have a good self-confidence, it's because you had a very, present mother. If you're ready to put yourself out there and do things, it's because you had a good father. So, it kind of start again. All my answers always start with family. Everything kind of roots in family. But after that, you gotta, to be able to identify red flags and toxic stuff, you ultimately have to figure out the direction you want to go and see if whatever is going on with this individual or whatever behavior you're witnessing is a behavior that's going to be beneficial for you in any way. If you find yourself putting up with a lot, tolerating a lot, one of the things I always say, one of my tropes is I have a ton of patience. Like, my patience is amazing. What I don't have and what people usually tend to deal with is I have no tolerance. I don't tolerate bullshit. I don't tolerate nonsense. I don't got time for you if you wasting my time. But if you in it, you trying to run with it, you trying to do something, I will make time for you because there's effort there. There's a struggle there. There's a try there. All right, cool. I'm with you. I'm gonna be with you the whole. I'm gonna ride with you as long as I'm capable of doing it. I'm gonna ride with you. But you there trying to waste time, you going contrary to anything that makes sense. I got no tolerance for you. zero tolerance. But life in a way kind of teaches you these things because you have to run across people that waste your time. And then you learn how they do it because they do it in different ways. So, the problem is when you get stuck in that cycle where you don't know if they're wasting your time. You actually think you're doing some benefit and you're not. You're just digging a hole to nowhere. So there is a lot of nuances. It's kind of like a non-answer because you've got to live life a bit to figure out who these toxic people are because, unless you know how to form appropriate relationships, which nobody really does until they start forming bad ones. It's hard to figure out what's good and what's bad. The only reason you can aspire for heaven is because you've tasted hell. If you've experienced hell to some degree, and that's why you can aspire to heaven. You're like, oh, you know what? Heaven feels real good, and you can appreciate it. But that's my theory in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. And whatnot. And you're absolutely right, in my opinion, when it comes to knowing yourself, because you can't really govern or respond accordingly to anyone else unless you know yourself first. You can't usher anybody into your life as a companion or a partner or a business partner if you don't know yourself first and know what it is that you want, know what it is that you don't want. And like you said, you use the word tolerate. You know what you can tolerate, you know what you can't tolerate. So you can't put that on anybody else or make a reaction on somebody else based off of anything if you don't know self first. So I absolutely agree with that. And that's really the bottom line of that one, because if you really don't know yourself, then what the devil are you doing telling somebody else what they're doing is wrong or toxic or good or bad? You don't even know yourself enough to know anything to tell anybody else.
One of the conversations people like to talk about is boundaries. You got to make sure they always say, you got to draw your boundaries. You got to make your boundaries. You got to make sure people respect your boundaries. The only way you even know where to put these boundaries is because you got to know where yourself is first, right? Where are you going to put this boundary? You put this boundary too close to vital areas in your body, it's going to hurt when these people start stamping all over your stuff because your boundary is too close. You need to put them a little bit further away from your body so that it actually protects you and there's space for people to trespass past your boundaries and you can still deal with it. But the only way you know that is where you need to know where your property line is. This analogy is going a little bit far. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know where your property line is so you know where to put your boundaries at. If you don't know where your property line is, then you won't be able to defend yourself if you have trespasses, because people are going to trespass your boundaries to make sure that they're no different than kids, right? Kids be doing that.
Right.
They test your limits, they test your boundaries. And people do that to each other all the time. Test the limits, test the boundaries. Oh, well, welcome my man Ron. Oh, he's gone now.
How you doing, Ron? Welcome to the stage. Oh, dang, he disappeared just as fast as he got here. What happened?
Nah, he probably come back. That's my cousin.
Okay.
I'm trying
Okay, cousin.
Hey, cousin.
What's up, Ron? Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the stage.
I'm trying to figure this out.
You figured it out.
I'm still trying to figure this out. So
you here, man? You figured it out.
You good? You good?
And then plus I'm about to drive, so I'm gonna say hello, guys.
Okay.
I'm about to go driving, so.
All right. Well, thank you for popping in.
How long you guys gonna be on?
Till about what is 11?
11?
11.
Okay, I'm gonna try to come back in. Okay, I just gotta run to the grocery store real quick.
All right,
no problem. Do your thing.
Yeah, that's my cousin right there.
I can tell.
All right.
You know what you mean? You could tell? What the hell was that? No, what the hell did that mean, Milk Dud? What you saying, man?
I can see the family resemblance. What you don't resemble your family now?
Okay, I'm just checking. You ain't even really see his face like that though. So like, how you know?
I saw the part that was
You saw the
necessary.
forehead. So you saying we got big foreheads or something?
I saw the part that was necessary to see.
You know what? I'm done.
Hey, I was gonna call him Forehead Fred. I was like, hey, Forehead Fred.
I didn't do that. Don't blame me.
Because that's all I saw. Like, hey, I faced a couple of times, and then that was it.
This is the hill y'all want to down right now. Stop playing with me.
I'm done.
Okay, good. All
I
right,
said,
continue.
I said I see the family resemblance.
I'm glad he dropped in.
He'll come back.
But,
He's a talker.
yeah,
He's a talker though. So I just warn y'all now.
Another family trait. That's
okay. That's cool.
Oh, you know.
You better be glad I'm blocking her right now. You better be glad because she's gonna get you, man. She's gonna get you. I don't know how much longer I can hold her, but you better be glad, man.
Oh shoot!
She break out. You on your own, bro. You on your own.
My bad. I'm good.
So my message to each of you, because all of us know that one or two people or more. I don't know what your life look like, but we know people who are the definition of toxic. For me, nothing positive resonates with me when I hear toxic or what I attach to toxic. Now, what I said before at the very beginning was a lot of people attach toxic to things because they don't co-sign to the shenanigans that person is trying to display, the behavior that they're trying to display. And then they'll call them toxic because they have an expectation or they're holding that person accountable for their behavior. So what'll happen is they'll reverse it, turn themselves into a victim, and then slap a label on that person because that person is holding them accountable for their behavior or whatever it was that they said or whatever the case is that is overtly negative. And what they're doing is trying to make an excuse to justify what it is that they're doing, but they'll reverse it. They'll deflect, dismiss, reverse it, pull a Uno card, slap it over there on them, and then make themselves the victim and stuff like that. That's toxic because they don't want to have to face.
That sounds damn toxic.
Absolutely. So that's what'll happen. And they'll throw the toxic label on the other person, and that other person is simply holding them accountable. And what'll happen is they'll whine and complain and all this other stuff while this person is sitting there like, what are you even talking about? Like, what you just did is disrespectful. What you just said was crazy. Well, the fact that you treated that person that way is wrong. Like, why would you even do that? Like, so you're holding them accountable, but they're like, see, I can't even deal with you. I can't even deal with you because see, that's that toxic masculinity. Wait, what? What are you talking about?
It's
so
standard.
You have those people who will do that. They will throw those labels on.
But that's why I also mentioned that we have to watch what we consider toxic, because sometimes we don't realize people are being toxic towards us or someone because it's kind of in disguise.
I got some good examples or good things or good concepts. Like oftentimes people, anytime there's something that's uncomfortable, it's very easy for people to label it toxic, where things that are that kind of give you discipline are often uncomfortable, right? Wherever you learn discipline in a certain way, it feels uncomfortable. So if someone is telling you to do things that are going to offer you some form of discipline that will ultimately be good for you, a lot of times that person will be called toxic. And most of that time it comes from men, right? Men tend to preach a certain form of discipline. Another side is whenever something is usually compassionate, softer, kinder, we don't see the toxicity of it, where indeed it can be toxic. But the example that comes to my head all the time is, I don't know if you remember that old cartoon where there was this little girl in a and remember the Pepe Le Pew? They always thought he was a cat because he would always mess something up. And there was that little girl that would see it and it's like, I'm gonna love you and I'm gonna hug you, I'm gonna love you forever and ever and ever, and then you would be choking. Yeah, that is toxic compassion. Right? Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot of women out here that get toxically compassionate, and we don't like calling it. But I'm just loving him, and I'm just caring for it. I'm just, what, you don't want me to love it and care for it? And this is something that gets overlooked like you wouldn't believe. It's so hard for people to put a finger on it.
That was a good example. I have to give you that one because
I'll take it.
He was the worst.
She was horrible, man. She was dating this little girl, man.
Yeah.
That kid was running for that.
Yeah.
Running for his life, man.
She ain't running for her life. It's like a bottle of paint would fall on her back and make her look like a skunk. And he's like, oh, and I'm like, oh my God, he's a rapist. Like I was like, he's the worst.
Yo, and it wasn't until we got older we was like, yo, back down, bro.
Oh,
like,
so you
right.
guys?
It wasn't until.
Yeah, you guys are talking about Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le Pew was toxically compassionate too, but that's
what I'm talking about.
I know, but there was other episodes where he was made to look like a cat by whatever paint or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a little.
Where he would take his stripe off.
No. There was a little girl. Yeah, it would take a stripe off. That's right.
Yeah.
And then there was a little girl that thought the Pepe Le Pew was a cat, and she would do the same thing to him. And she would be like, oh, I'm going to love you forever and ever and ever, and I'm going to hold you forever, and I'm never going to let you go. Neck snap, right? Yeah.
That's a good example. I give you that one.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like when I really examined some of the episodes, I was looking at, I'm like, dude, you are literally a stalker, first of all.
Oh, always a stalker.
Second of all, you are literally sexually harassing this poor cat. Like you are literally, and she can't get away from you. And you are literally a stalker, bro. Like, what are you doing?
That cat was in the corner. Trying to hide away from the.
That was
but
crazy.
Again, like I said,
and it was funny when the roles reversed. It was funny.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, that's why I said we have to differentiate the different types of toxic, because some people just look at toxic like let's go with like relationships. Oh, he got 3 baby mamas, she got 3 baby daddies, or she does this or he does that. And sometimes a lot of us, we run across people who seem normal and they be having the biggest red flags ever. But because it seems normal, we don't recognize those red flags because we don't see those as abnormal, if that makes sense. Because like sometimes
construct.
Huh?
Right? They fit within a social etiquette of sorts.
Yeah.
Right? The whole Mean Girl thing kind of fits in that area, right? The way the Mean Girls do things. Yeah. It fits within a social etiquette. So you can't really say that they're saying, and there's a lot of what they call like plausible deniability.
Mm-hmm.
They can go back like, I didn't say that. Well, we know what you meant, you skanky bitch. Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's not that the red flags aren't there. We're just not trained to recognize them as red flags because they're not like huge red flags that we're accustomed to.
Yeah,
it's like a version of the Stockholm syndrome. Almost.
Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back.
It's almost like a version of the Stockholm syndrome where you know you're not in the right situation, or you're not. You're looking at something that just isn't right, but you care about this person in a weird way and don't know why. Like, what?
You do know there's
I'm not supposed.
There's no documented case of men being diagnosed with Stockholm.
No. Oh, yeah.
There's no documentation of men ever being documented. It's really a specific woman thing as of now. It's a diagnosis for women that women fall into that. Men, there's no documented case. As soon as a man is able to, usually he finds a way to free himself. Unless he's just totally broken down and is unable to move. But most women will get to that point. They're free, liberated, and they will defend that man to their grave.
Yeah. Well, that goes to the abuse side of things. When somebody is abusing you, but you relate that to love as a woman, and we're sitting there scratching our head like, how? Like, how does that even? Because see, for us, love is related to us through respect and that kind of thing, and care and stuff. It's not because somebody lumped me upside my freaking head that I love them so much that I'm making excuses for them. I'm not gonna make no excuses for that.
I mean, that's the situation. It goes back to, so who is their father? How is their relationship with their father? Right, like, because
that's also how their mother.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, I'm not talking about mother now. This situation is father. Like, if you're a woman and you getting involved with a man and he beating you senseless.
But now it could be because it could be maybe she saw her mother go through those types of things. Her mother stayed through those types of situations.
From who?
So she feels that because her mother stayed through those types of situations, that it's okay.
From who though? Her mother getting beat from who?
Well, from the man. But I'm saying, but still, it's the mother too, because she allowed it to happen and she continued the relationship.
Yeah, but we're gonna rewind it to how was the mother's relationship with her father now? Was she sitting there watching the mom get beat too from this guy too?
I mean, it happens. Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't. It's an ugly chain. It's an ugly cycle.
I was just making sure that we also acknowledge that, because a lot of times those women they have gone through situations where they see, but it could be the mother. I mean, it could be the father. It could be a stepfather or just a boyfriend. And they see that the mother continues to stay within those types of relationships. So they feel that type of relationship is normal. So that's why I said we got to kind of include mothers too. I get what you're saying. I'm not discounting what you're saying. But if the mothers are also allowing that and their children are seeing that, it's both parties are to blame. That's what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying. Everybody has a responsibility in it. I would even say the woman in question that's sitting there getting beat has a responsibility in the situation. Like, why are you staying there?
Right.
Even though your
my mother was married to this guy. I'll never forget his name. I ain't gonna say it on here because it's on YouTube now. But I will say he was a sheriff. I mean, big, burly, like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, the cops are the worst, man. The cops are the worst.
Oh, and he worked for the sheriff's office, and he used to beat my mom. And I remember one day, I got pissed at him, and he used to dress real fly, and he did something to my mama, and I took all his stuff and I put it in the bathtub, and anything that I could find to pour on his clothing, I did. I mean, flour, water, sugar, bleach, anything, right? And I remember he came home and he was pissed, obviously so. And I remember we had to crawl out but now mind you, he was very abusive. We had to crawl out of my bedroom window and we ran across the street to to a school. It was the school that I went to. And like we called the police and they finally came and they got him, you know. So, but I mean, I could have taken that as, you know, how can I put it? I could, if I had a weaker mind, I could have thought that was okay for him to just beat on my mother.
Yeah, that's the cycle of love.
Yeah,
love cycles that way.
Right, but I knew that wasn't right, you know. So again, luckily, of course, after all of that, she divorced him, and we no longer had that problem. But if I was somebody who didn't feel that that was not okay, I can see how they could get caught up in thinking that, oh well, if he busts me upside the head, that must mean he loves me. Or I just have to deal with it because he loves me. And a lot of women do, um, let me rephrase that. I don't want to say a lot of women. Some women
Mhm.
do believe that, because they assert that violence, that must mean he cares for me. Because if he didn't care for me, he wouldn't put his hands on me. Kind of
Yeah,
like when you think about children, like if I did, kind of like when you get a whooping, I'm spanking you because I love you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't spank you. I'm spanking you because I'm trying to instill discipline in you and because I love you. And some women, unfortunately, take the same concept when it comes to men.
yeah. No, the thing is, I've heard out of the mouth of women, they straight up say, you know, I I I actually cook better meals when my husband beats me. These are words from these women. It's like I please him better after he beats me. These are words I'm hearing from women.
What?
Yeah. Well, I wish I could. I couldn't make that up if I tried. I promise you. I really couldn't. These are what these women are saying.
Well,
So,
I mean, that's
like,
because he instilled that fear. So she probably already knows, like, okay, I got to make this pork chop exactly right. Because if I don't make this pork chop exactly right, he gonna go upside my damn head again.
yeah. The last time I put too much salt in it, he beat my ass. So,
Right, right. I mean, that's obviously we're not saying that that's something good.
no, we're not
But just
condoning this behavior. We're just
yeah,
pointing
we're just talking
out
about the
these
behavior.
concepts here. I don't. I fully denounce this behavior.
Right. I mean, we just always have to make sure we say that because we are on YouTube and we don't want anybody saying that we like think that men should beat their wives to get a better dinner. I'm just saying. But I can see the
But so
process of it.
on this note, though, there is this thing that I've run across women saying, and they'll say stuff like, he can't handle me, or I would run all over him, right? Which these terms, they edge on the side of violence, and this side of like I need to be handled and controlled from a man. So I don't know how much of that is innate in women and how much of it is socially constructed. Um, but it's something that needs to be paid attention to and figured out amongst y'all women because I can't figure it out.
Well, as the woman on the panel, I'm going to tell you, I don't need to be controlled. But I also don't give any reason to be controlled. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I never once did I say I need a man that can handle me. And no, I'm a woman, I'm a nurturer, I'm a caregiver. I'm gonna do what I do as a wife and as a mother and as a woman, even before children and a husband. It was just within my nature to be a woman. I don't need somebody to handle me. I'm gonna handle myself and do what I'm supposed to do. And then when I, got a husband, I handle my business the way that I'm supposed to handle my business within the marriage and the relationship and the family. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying me
Yeah, no,
personally.
but what I'm saying is like I almost want to say that there's a certain innate part of that in women. Like
I don't think it's innate though. I think that's where I guess we're
but
about to start
okay,
arguing.
would you say more
I
women
would think that's more societal.
but would you say that more women express or show this desire to be handled over not more that think like you?
I don't know. I know a lot of women don't think like me, so it's always
Well, I'm not talking
hard.
about you. I'm just talking about this one aspect, right? This one little thing of being handled per se. Would you say more women are out there saying, I want to be handled by a man. I want to be handled, and however they conceptualize it. Because I feel like I come across more women that say they want to be handled.
No, but okay.
It could be my circle, right?
Hold on. I would say that I can agree with you, but I think it's for the wrong reasons. So we have a lot of strong, independent women that want to do and say and act and do whatever they want to do. And so then they will say, because they don't want to conform to femininity, and they will say, I need a man that can handle a woman like me. And I think that's different than like handle a woman as far as like being that shit, come on, just
overlord.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
like so I want my husband to handle me, but not in the same aspect that these modern women say it. So, for example, and I'll be a little funny for a minute. If me and Billy are somewhere and something happens, and if he tells me to shut the fuck up and get in the car, I'm going to shut the fuck up and get in the car. I'm going to follow the direction of my husband because I know that he has our best interest in my life and our lives and in the family interest in mind. But now if we are speaking upon a decision for the family, and he says, well, Jessica, I think we should sell the house. We're going to sit down and talk about that. That's not a thing of handling. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't.
No, because there's blurry lines. I think there's a lot of blurry lines. I've been ever since I heard that expression from a woman. It sent me into a tailwind. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell. And I've been, me. I'd be thinking about a lot of things, and this one thing, I couldn't put my finger on it. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't.
Yeah, like it's like I want you to be the man of the house. And if you need to tell, okay, I'm gonna put, okay, I think I got it now.
All right.
I want you to be the head of the household, the man of the house. And if you tell me that I need to shut the fuck up and sit down every once in a while, then maybe I need to shut the fuck up and sit down every once in a while. That's different than, well, because I got a degree and I'm smart and I got this and I can do that and I don't need you. So you got to give me a man that can handle me. And I'm like, don't nobody want that. That's not handling you. That's like, I got to deal with somebody that's combative at every measure, every turn that I try to make a decision. Now it's like a handling thing.
Yeah, it's a battle. It's a straight conflict.
Yeah, it's a battle.
Yeah.
Like I said, I couldn't. I that probably wasn't the best analogy either, but that's kind of where I'm going. Like I
mean, what it sounds like to me is that it's kind of this same sentiment, but along a spectrum, right? The extreme spectrum is this, I'm an independent woman. I need somebody to handle me.
Yeah.
But it also goes to the other side of, I'm a submissive woman, and I need to be handled.
Guidance.
Yeah.
And I need to be handled sometimes.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Sometimes, just like a man steps out of line, a woman can step out of line and needs to be corrected.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I think it's the same sentiment. That's why I say it's innate.
Yeah.
But if it's on the wrong volume dial, it can cause unnecessary problems.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
We agree.
Listen, you see me, I can get humble real quick when I tell you I don't know. I really don't know. This is an area. No, it's not. It's not.
It's not a full moon.
It's my black head. It's my black head. Yeah. No full moon.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I won't get so excited then.
No. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It happens. Like I said, I told you I can get humbled when I don't know. I tell you I don't know. I'm taking a stab at it because I am literally dabbling in intuitions and feelings I don't have. So I'm just taking what everybody else is saying and trying to put something together, and then I give it back to y'all and see if y'all swallow it. If y'all don't, if y'all swallow it,
we ain't doing that. No, we ain't doing the TD. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing.
Ain't that type of channel? Ain't that?
No. There's only one exception to that, and I ain't gonna discuss that here. Huh?
Mr. Crave Skip Cookies is the only exception, huh?
Oh no. Ain't got nothing to do with these cookies. Here. Okay, ain't nothing.
Oh boy.
But
yeah.
So within the context of what we were talking about, so how do you adjust when it comes to that? Because if what is your course of action now that you recognize it, now that you know course of action when it comes to that kind of thing? Because I want y'all to kind of tell people what you would do in those situations. That's something that they can do that could possibly work in their various situations that they might be in, where they might be in the workplace and there's toxic situations going on. They might be in a relationship. They might be in a friendship. They might be in a marriage. They might be, in a relationship, or they might have an estranged relationship with their kid or whatever. So just kind of expound on some course corrections coming from yourself to how you would handle negative toxic energy. So how do you flip that and then you direct positive energy your way, or send out positive energy? So how would you do that? What does that look like for you?
I mean, I'm gonna make this real short because I got a precept that I live by that kind of handles that, and that's if two people fundamentally disagree. I'm talking about fundamentally disagree. There's only two options: submission or separation. There's no and ifs, what's, or but about it. If you fundamentally disagree with it, there's only two options: submission or separation. And when it comes down to submission, that means one of the other person needs to submit to the other. Whether that's through violence or not, that submission needs to happen. And then the other one is obviously separation, which is pretty easy. You either get that person away from you or you get away from that person, which also could lead to some level of violence. But that's one aspect of it. Submission or separation when it comes to fundamental disagreements.
Okay. Jessica?
I guess she stepped away.
Must be. So for me, the way that looks like for me, I tend to limit people's access to me, or I don't give them the same energy, because you've heard that saying, well, keep that same energy. No, I'm not doing that, because all it does is exacerbates the situation and it makes it worse. I'm not going to do that. For me, I just know where to put you now, because you already know we are very good at compartmentalization. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in that little square way over there in the corner. You're not going to get access to me to affect me in the way that you think you will. Because then when it comes to, and that's how I handle people in business or at the workplace. And then because you can't totally get rid of them. So you have to now be very strategic on when you connect or cross paths with that person, or very calculating on what it is that you say to that person, because that person thrives off toxicity, and they can make a small situation go bad really, really fast. So for me, that's how I would handle that person. Now, I'm going to put you right over there in that little corner. So whenever you running your mouth or whenever you're talking, I'm going to be talking about something else. I'm not even going to pay you no mind. You're not getting my energy. That's not what you're going to do. Not with me. So in as far as relationships go, I've never been married, so I can't speak on marriage when it comes to this side of things, but I do know human behavior. Um, I know someone who's very dear to me who is in a very, very toxic situation. And it got that way because of what they enabled their partner to do. And they don't like confrontation. They don't like fighting. They don't, because it drains them, because they're an empath. And with empaths, you have to be very, very careful. Empaths feel a lot of what's going on with another person's life. A lot of the times they involve themselves in such a way that impacts them personally. So you got to be very, very careful if you're that type of person, because what will happen is you'll start absorbing all that negative energy that person is telling you about their situation. You'll start absorbing all that energy that person themselves is absorbing, because they're sad, because they are down, they're depressed, they're feeling all this bad energy coming from them, verbal abuse, mental abuse, and in some cases physical abuse, and stuff like that. So you have to be very careful what you're absorbing from another person, because their business technically isn't your business, but because you are who you are, you're absorbing all that negative energy. You have to put in blockers to protect yourself. It's called self-preservation. You have to protect yourself, because if you don't, you're going to be forced. Well, you're going to be sucked down this little rabbit hole that is not healthy for you at all. And if you don't draw your lines, your boundaries, and stuff like that, because you can't let all of that stuff affect you in such a way that it affects your personal life, and then all of a sudden you're depressed, and all of a sudden you're down and sad and downtrodden. You can't allow yourself to go there. And yes, I did say downtrodden. So, so what I'm saying is that you have to make sure. Well, I'm going to tell you how I handle that. Is I'm empathetic. I can say, hey, I understand that you're feeling such and such. I can't say I understand how you're feeling if I've never gone through what they're going through, but I can say I understand that you are feeling this way or that way. Have you tried? Blah blah blah. And a lot of the times, depending on the person, they might be open to receive it, but they won't do a daggone thing else about it. So you have to know when to draw the line for yourself. Because if you see that they're not listening, it's best that you are there to provide a listening ear. But if you already know you're going to be wasting your breath, you have to make sure you take what they say with a grain of salt, because they're not going to leave the situation. If you attack the person that they are having trouble with, they're going to go right back to them. Like, so you have to be very, very careful how you handle other people's situations and how it affects you. So, I just urge you to, if you're a praying person, pray about it. If you're a meditating person, meditate on it. Figure out how you can separate yourself mentally and emotionally from that situation. Because if they're not going to listen, you're going to be damaging yourself.
I'd add to that. I'm sorry, I had to go in the house for a minute. I am
It's cool.
excuse me. I am a total empath. It's like I'm bad. Like I literally can tell y'all that I feel feelings from other people's situations so badly. But I have to get to a point where, like you just said, Dedrick, where I can empathize with you. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to try to support you. I'm going to give you my advice. If you choose to take that, then okay. And if you choose not to take it, then okay as well. And as an empath,
Mhm.
I've literally had to learn how to disconnect myself from people who were draining my energy. Now,
Mhm. Mhm.
Maurice, you and I don't really talk on this level, but me and Dedrick kind of talk on this level a little more than normal when we talk about like the universe and you know, karma and things of that nature. And we have to start to disconnect ourselves. We can be empathetic. It's one thing to be empathetic. It's a whole nother thing to let other people drain our energies due to their situations. So as an empath, the one thing that I can say is that we will stick with you as long as we can. But once we're done, as an empath, we're done with you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. We'll still pray for you. We'll still love you. But we'll just love you from a distance. We'll just say enough is enough. I done already told you what you need to do. I done already pointed out the red flags. You continue to do the same things that you are doing. Therefore, guess what? There's nothing much more I can do for you. And I'm gonna mind my black ass business over here at home with my children and my family. Because I can't tell you anything else. I've tried to do that part. So when you're an empath, people don't know that that's a huge thing. And when an empath is done with you, baby, that means you ain't did nothing. That means you're still falling for the same things that you were falling for, no matter what that person told you. And for me, like, I'm not only an empath, but I'm like a straightforward person. So if you tell me something, I'll tell you, okay, X, Y, Z. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I'm not gonna bullshit you. I'm gonna tell you what I feel you should do. If you don't feel you should do that, then don't come talking to me about it no more. I'm done. And I might even give you like 2 or 3 times. Like, girl, da, 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 da. Well, remember I told you you should do this. Yeah, I know, but I didn't do that. And I'm like, all right, well, you might want to consider that. And then the third time come along and she'd be like, oh, girl, you know, he did X, Y, Z. And I'm like, girl, bye. Girl, bye. Get off my phone. Because I told you what you needed to do. And I love you and I hope the best for you. But at the end of the day, you're not listening. So why am I going to keep expelling my energy to your negative situation? Like, I'll give you one great example real quick. I think I told both of y'all. I think I shared it with y'all in the back chat when my sister stopped talking to me. Remember I shared the screenshots?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
She still ain't talked to me since then. Because every single time she would call me, everything would be negative. My co-workers don't like me. My children are disrespectful. My husband ain't this. And everybody hates me. And it's because I'm deaf. It's because I'm this. It's because I'm that. And I'm like, eventually I was like, well, sis, you got to be doing something wrong. You got to be doing something wrong. So, like, how about you look at yourself in the mirror? Because everybody's not saying that. Kind of like what back in the days when they was talking about Whitney Houston. Ain't nobody calling you a crackhead and you ain't a crackhead, right? So obviously somebody's telling the truth, and it's probably going to be the majority of people telling the truth. So if you continue to call me and you want my advice or you want my, you know, just a vent or whatever, okay, cool, we can do that. But I'm going to get to a point where, like, I can't have empathy for you anymore because I know that you're a victim. Everything that you state to me is victimhood. So therefore, how about you look at yourself in the mirror and figure out what it is that you're doing that makes everybody not like you. So again, that just goes back to the empathy. Like, at first I was trying to be empathetic. I was like, okay, sis, I understand. She would even say, hey, can you call she has 4 kids. Can you call your nephews and your nieces and talk to them? And I'm like, I got you, sis. I got you, sis. Let me call. And I'd call them. And then when I heard their side of the story, I was like, oh, dang, this don't sound good, right? So then I call her back and I'm like, well, your kids, told me this. But because they're kids, well, they weren't kids. They were, adolescents / adults at that time. And I'm like, well, but your kids are telling me this. So, like, am I supposed to not believe them because you're the adults or you're the mom? Like, no, all 4 of them are saying the same thing about you. So my empathy had to go out the window to the point where I said, hey, look, I told you what to do. I told you what you should do. And you're not listening. So I'm not talking about it no more. So empathy goes a long way, and it can be cut off very quickly as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's that saying that I heard that, like, if all women don't like you, the problem is not the women. Like, let's get real. Like, if you are that, like, detestable and everybody doesn't like you that much, the problem's not the people. Like, it's you got something to fix. Like, if you're that perpetual victim and all things are against you in every way, it's the reverse of that verse. All weapons forms against me will prosper. If that's how you feel, then
that kind of goes back to, especially if it's like a family member or a close friend, they feel that you should be on their side because you're a family member or a close friend. So then when you cut that empathy off, they're like, oh my God, what do you mean you're not backing me up? And it's like, well, because I kind of see what's going on. And that's where my empathy ends.
Yeah, I mean, those are the friends I got rid of.
Right.
Well, the friend that'll walk, like, I walk into like a CVS with them and they're walking out with stuff without paying for it. No. We not friends no more. Like, we don't hate. I mean, everything, most of the stuff you were saying kind of fits into my whole separation criteria. Like, this world of separation and compartmentalization, like, these people, I consider these people untrustworthy. But untrustworthy doesn't necessarily mean you don't trust them. You trust them to do exactly what they show themselves to do.
Exactly.
You trust them to make the complaints that that's exactly what they're going to do. And because I'm not going to deal with that, as soon as that starts, I understand that's who they are. This guy likes to go into CVS and pick up random stuff before he walks out, and he wants to be next to me while he's doing it. I don't step foot into CVS with him. I just don't. We're not. I trust them to do that. I trust them to continue to steal stuff. I'm good. I'm good. This is what separation means. Like, you over there, I'm over here. I'm not saying I don't talk to you. Because as far as I know, he was a great basketball player. So I hung out with him on the basketball court. We were cool. We did what I think.
You had to go into CVS with his ass.
CVS with him. Right? Like, it's another thing too when girls be like, yo, how's your friend? I wanna hug her. Like, no, don't mess with that guy. What do you mean? He's your friend, right? Yeah. But you don't want to be messed with him.
But I think that's a problem within us as not the 3 people on this panel, because I know all
No, we know what you're talking about. Yeah, we know what you're talking about.
We don't separate ourselves from the degeneracy. I said this a while back, and I'm not trying to make this about race or anything like that, but I will say this. Most times, not all the time, when white folks see some degeneracy within their race, like let's say, let's call it trailer trash, okay? That's their word, right? I didn't make that up.
The crackers.
They separate themselves from that, right? they'd be like, "Oh my God, that's horrible," and no, we don't claim that at all.
Mhm.
But when we do things as a collective, I'm not saying we necessarily embrace it, but we don't separate ourselves from it
Yeah,
as a collective.
yeah, no, there was some wild stuff, and they were doing it, and then all of a sudden there was this label got put on it called Black culture, and I was like, what? I'm like, listen, if that's Black culture, I'm not Black. I guess I'm not Black. Uninvite me to the cookout, do whatever you got to do, but none of those represent any type of values or traditions or any type of stuff that I'm going to pass on to my kids.
Right.
So I'm not Black. If that's what Black is, I'm not Black.
But like I said, I was just making a point as far as the separation. Like a lot of times we don't separate ourselves from the shenanigans
The thing is,
that
like,
we do.
the
I'm
thing
just
is,
being, and I'm using my words wisely. The shenanigans that we do, we don't
we
separate
understand what
ourselves.
you're talking about. The thing is, separation can happen in degrees. Right? Some people have a very poor volume dial on how they separate people. Right? It's either they cut them off completely. This person's dead to me, or they're the closest person that could anybody. Like this person has to be under their skin all the time. So they don't have any gradients in the separation at all, right? So I think a lot of people could use a little bit of practice in learning how to separate ingredients. Like this person is someone that you meet out in the bar or something like that, but you probably wouldn't be inviting them into your house. That's all right. You can have that type of relationship with them, but that's what it is. There's certain people that you would invite in the house. They're involved in all your kids, but you know what? There's certain areas of things you don't do with them because they don't know how to act right in that area. They don't know how to do right in that area. Right? So separation happens. Respectful and self-respecting yourself can help you separate people appropriately on the right gradient.
That's like I met one day. I ran into somebody.
To add to what you're saying,
y'all not even gonna believe this. Real quick, I ran into somebody that I frequently.
I don't even believe it. I don't believe it.
Right?
No.
Me neither. I don't believe nothing. It's ridiculous.
You know what?
Absolutely.
Mm-mm.
Shut up. I'm using a good example. Give me my moment. And I don't post a lot of pictures. Shit. Most of my pictures online, y'all see it. It's usually my kids. And the very few pictures, it's like, just. And she looked. It was a girl. It wasn't a guy. It was a girl. She said, "I thought you were smaller than what you." She said, "You kind of thick." And I was like, "Well, yeah, that's what happens when you don't post ass pictures online, right?" I don't post pictures.
I don't believe it.
I
don't believe it.
I'm dead serious.
I'm on record. I don't believe it.
All right, you don't have to believe it.
I need to see that live in living color, man.
But the point being is that, like,
and what else?
no, because y'all mess me up because y'all keep saying y'all don't believe it, and now I don't even want to talk about it no more.
You on
listening.
You on Zuckerberg's internet talk about you thick. Come on, who won't buy that?
I ain't like that thick. But they thought I was like a string bean, according to them. They was like, we thought you was like olive oil, like kind of skinny. We thought you was like that. And I was like, I got a little something. But again, it's perception to where what we put out is what people think of us. That was my point of making the statement before y'all rudely interrupted me. Is that people's perceptions sometimes are different than what it actually is. I mean, that was really random, like real random. That happened. And that was because she's like on my we have like this it's a neighborhood one where like you can trade things or like say you got something for sale or you want to give something away.
Right. I understand.
It was
Yeah.
one of those sites. It wasn't like Facebook or nothing like that. And she was like, I would have never thought that. But again, it's just going back to like our perception and what we do online and stuff like that, to where people don't even really know anymore who is. I don't know. But y'all messed me up because y'all did it. I had a good point, but y'all messed me up because y'all was like, I don't believe it. So then y'all just messed my whole team.
Jessica, you need to, see when I be forgetting my points, I say, you know what I do? I say, I forgot my point. My bad. And
I just said that. I forgot my point.
No,
like,
you
no, y'all messed it up because I was on a roll until y'all started saying that. No, y'all not getting this one. You're not getting this one. Y'all messed it up because y'all interrupted me.
You gotta take
and
some
I don't
accountability.
believe that.
Come on now, you gotta take accountability, Jessica.
No, not on this one. I will not, because y'all messed this one up. That is what it is.
Oh man. So that wasn't your point that you was trying to make?
No, I don't even care about my point no more because y'all messed it up.
That wasn't your point.
She's thicker than she looks on pictures. You weren't paying attention. You gotta pay attention, Dedrick. She's thicker than she looks on pictures. That's what she said.
Oh, I paid attention.
It was talking about perception.
I was listening to all her points.
It was talking about perception, but then y'all messed it up, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. So just say whatever y'all want to say now. Shit. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, so Maurice, we're gonna talk about it some more. Yes, we're gonna do.
There you go. Talk about what y'all
want. Yeah.
No, I said Maurice. So you ain't got to say
that.
I'm going on mute.
Don't see how thick I am? Look at this. Thick, baby. Yo, I'm thicker in real life, though. I am. I promise.
Oh, my God.
I know you thicker in real life,
but I get what you're saying.
That's why we always get that chest shot. I ain't never seen. You probably got a big old.
Yeah. Go ahead, finish it. Thick,
y'all so stupid, man.
It's about that.
I ain't doing it. You ain't reeling me in. Anyways.
Oh man.
I'm not talking to you no more. I'm done.
Oh man. But I mean, you gotta make me forget my point. No.
Exactly.
No.
You got thickness on the brain. He's thinking of all the thick things in his life.
Oh my God. So so my thing is that perspective does matter. But like Maurice said earlier, like, you know, what did he say earlier? No, I'm just messing with you. I don't know. But so it's like you have to really trust that, because he said something that a lot of people don't really think about in their lives. You have to trust that person to be the person that they are. That you literally have to trust that they show you know. Right. That you know that person is who they are. Then another person comes in and they think, oh my God, he's so sweet. Oh my God. And you sitting there like, yeah, no. So how about this? You try to redirect them and they're sitting there still, and you're sitting there telling them, no, that's not a bridge you want to cross. Like, seriously, that's not what you want to do. And it's not because you're hating. That means you know what damage that person can cause to that person, or bring to themselves by even being into that contact with that person and stuff. Sometimes when you're redirecting negative toxic energy, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to drip on the person. You have to literally do it one piece at a time, because that person is not going to take corrective actions or corrective or constructive criticism the right way, because they're in their own way. And if a person is in their own way, they're not going to get it. They're not going to see that you're trying to help them. They're going to flip it and make it you're trying to take something away from them, or you're just hating, or you're just this, you're just like, that's just like when I see, and I've seen on, and this is not something personal that I'm going to say. This is something that I've observed even when I was in high school. Excuse me, and when I was in college in Miami. You'll always have that group of women, almost always have that group of women, and they have one busted can of business with them. And you can't tell them that they are not the bee's knees. You can't tell them that their attitude is terrible. You can't tell, and physically in their face, they're a beautiful person. However, what they're wearing is inappropriate. What they're wearing is terrible. But if you say something to them, they go off on this tangent where you just hating because you don't got this. You just hating because they just looking at me. Well, first of all, no, I'm not hating at all. I'm trying to tell you, you look ridiculous. As a friend, I'm not going to let you go out looking like this, but you're insisting on going out. Look, I'm going to go out regardless. Okay. Then now you know you need to step back and let life teach them the hard way. Because now your well-meaningness is equated to something as a detractor for them, as a negative thing for them. So if that's where their headspace is, there's nothing you can tell them that's going to stick until they grow into it and they're ready to receive it. And something forces them to look in the mirror at themselves. So for me, I will fall back really, really quick. I don't force my opinions on anybody. I will state what I gotta state. And I might even do it one or two more times if the circumstances dictate that. But beyond that, I don't go past 3. Because if you're stuck on stupid, then I'm gonna say my piece and see if it sticks anywhere. But once I see that you're determined to go in your own personal destruction, I can't do anything to stop it. I can't. And I'm not going to keep trying. I'm not going to keep forcing myself in my well-meaning whatever and affirmations or whatever. I can't. I can only do what I can do and let you know that I love you and I care about you. And that's it. That's all you can do with some people. But some people who are open to receive it, then they will do what's necessary to change their situation. And when you see that they're stuck, you let them be stuck because you can't teach them anything because their headspace is not in the right place. It's just not.
Rock bottom is a hell of a teacher.
Well, I would add as a woman, 98, I'm going to be fair, 98% of the time that a man has intervened and said, don't wear this. Don't go to that side of the neighborhood. Don't do this or do this way. They were right. They were right. I'm a huge proponent of the patriarch. Y'all already know that, and that's not me. You know, I know I've been called all types of names. The hell would pick me, a man worshiper, and all that other stuff.
Really? That's what they are now.
Huh? No,
that's what they are now. Man worshiper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one. Yeah, I'm a man worshiper. I'm a pick me. But I respect the men in my circle. Now, that doesn't mean that I respect every single man on this earth, because guess what? There are some men that are not worthy of my respect. They have not earned my respect. But that's not just a man thing. It's just a people thing, right? But the men that are in my circle, I trust wholeheartedly. And if one of them tell me, "Hey, Jess, I don't think you should go to that area because I know that area," I'm gonna say, "Okay." And I'm not going to go to that area because I know they have my best interest in mind. It's not because they're trying to control me or well, no, that's really what it is. They're not trying to control me. They just want the best for me. So I follow their advice. And I think I've said this before, even throughout my career, most of the people that taught me everything that I know, and this is not to take away from the few women that were above me that taught me things, because they also taught me things, but the majority of them were men. And I appreciate that. That shouldn't be a bad thing, is what I'm saying. It shouldn't be a bad thing to where we listen to our men. Um, Even in my everyday life with Billy and the children, I listen to my husband. And that doesn't mean that we always agree on every single thing, but at the very least, if we don't agree, we have a conversation about it. It's not an argument. We have a conversation about it. Well, I don't agree with this. And he'll say, well, I don't agree with you. And then we talk it out. And sometimes he'll be like, you know what? Well, let's try it your way. And vice versa. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, let's try it your way. And sometimes I'll be like, see, I told you. And then sometimes he says, I told you. But again, it's just about listening to the men in our lives. I don't understand why this is a problem. The men have been, they're supposed to be our leaders. I don't get that. I look at my husband as my leader. He is my leader. He is my guy. That's not to say that he gets everything right, but 98% of the time, hell yeah, he gets it right. And even when he doesn't get it right, he'll still fix it. He'll be like, you know what? Yeah, I probably should have did it this way. But guess what? Now that I know it didn't work that way, I'm gonna fix it. You ain't gotta worry about it. So I don't understand that whole we can't listen to men and men are bad and misogyny and feminists, and I can't rock with none of that.
Well, the issue is some men are bad, and
No, I said that.
Well,
and
a lot of that, Jessica.
these women deal with those bad men all the time because they went down that alley they weren't supposed to. They were dressed in the clothes that they probably shouldn't have. They were in the area that they probably shouldn't have gone. So they're dealing with all these bad men. So no, you don't listen to those men. But
No, not
the men that are telling you don't go in these areas where there's bad men.
so
Those are the ones you probably listen to.
But again, in my defense, and I always say this when we do have these conversations, we have to remember that my father raised me as a single father.
Well, that goes to another thing.
So I have a different aspect. Now, my mother was in my life, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, my father raised me. So I have a different outlook when it comes to things like that. So, like, for example, when my little friend who was 14 got pregnant, and I was like, I want to go to the baby shower. And he was like, hell no, you're not going to the baby shower. And if you keep hanging around her, you're going to end up just like her. Like he instilled certain things into me to where it just made me not do certain shit. Because I didn't want to fall into that trap. Where the mother probably would have said, oh yeah, matter of fact, what does the baby need? And we'll go to the store together and get it. Not saying it's a bad thing per se, but fathers just have a different type of way of instilling things into their daughters and their sons too. But we always like to talk about how fathers are important for sons, but a lot of times we neglect the part that fathers are equally important for daughters. Because he could have said, oh yeah, you can go to the baby shower.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, because he used to tell me all the time, you keep hanging around him, you're going to be like him. And guess what? Guess what Jessica didn't do? Jessica didn't have no baby at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I ain't had my first one until I was 35.
Not 35.
35.
To a father.
Because my father told me I needed to be married before I had a child.
Yeah.
And I got married to Billy when I was 33. And I had William when I was 35. So he instilled that in me. So is equally important. But sometimes we look at things
And
like
see
that,
what
like, oh, that's mean. No, it's not mean. That's teaching a lesson. You might
yeah.
think it's mean at the time, but it's not.
Yeah,
And we need to pay attention to those things.
that's that discipline love that they don't
Yeah,
respect. They don't respect that no more. That discipline love.
yeah,
If you come people with that discipline love, they get really upset at you now.
yeah.
They like to call it tough love. I
Right.
hate that. I hate that expression. Tough love. Ain't nothing tough about it. I want you to be successful in life, so you need to avoid mistakes.
Yeah.
Like the more mistakes,
that's why it's tough.
right? I guess I don't like the term because it has such a negative connotation for me. But like, yeah, no, life is about learning. Yeah, you can learn all these lessons by yourself, but there's a reason you got parents that went through it already, so you don't have to go through it again, and you can just learn the lessons the light way, the easy way. Now, some kids are hard headed, and they're gonna have to learn the hard way, and that's usually the father's method too. Go ahead, let them play with the light switch. Let them play with the socket. I bet you won't do that again. Right? Like,
But when it comes
you need to
to
learn. But you need
but
to
when it
learn.
comes to
You
real
need to
life
learn. Hold
lessons,
on, you need to learn in a controlled environment where he gonna be there to deal with it. But
yeah, I was gonna say when
there's certain things he gonna say it
yeah.
because if you go learn it out in the real world, there's gonna be permanent consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't see because of your youth. You can't see that far. I know right now I'm 41 years old. When I was 35, I didn't think like I would think now. When I was 21, I didn't think like I would think now. And I didn't think how I think when I was 25. You can rewind it back to 18, 16, 14. Every single time I thought differently. I thought I knew. And then I learned more. And then I thought I knew. And then I learned more. And then I thought I knew.
I'm still learning to this day.
And then you realize, you know what? I don't know shit.
Right. Look, I'm 47 and I'm still learning to this day. And there's nothing but that's a and to kind of like, go back to the topic at hand, it's avoiding toxic things, and it's about growth. If you're not growing, then I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Excuse my French. I don't know what you're doing if you're not growing. We all have probably on this panel done some dumb things or went through some things that we didn't want to go through. But I can speak for myself. Everything that I went through, even the dumb things that I did, I learned from them and I grew. And so now I don't do dumb things because I grew. And I think that that's a major problem where we don't grow anymore. We just think that everything's acceptable. We can do whatever we want to do, say whatever we want to say, play victim, play whatever it is, and everything's just supposed to be okay. Well, we're just supposed to confirm whatever it is that you say it is.
Affirm.
Affirm. Thank you. And I think that's a problem with what's going on in the world. And this world is some shit right now. But
that's
anyway.
That toxic compassion that I was talking about.
Huh?
That's that toxic compassion.
Yeah, I know.
Whenever you start hearing all this affirmation, we need to affirm this. We need to affirm that. That's that toxic compassion. No, this is dumb shit, and they need to stop.
Right.
Because if they continue doing this dumb shit, they're gonna hurt themselves, and they're gonna start bleeding. And we already know, hurt people. So you're gonna create a monster essentially that's gonna go out here and start messing with everybody around them.
Mm-hmm.
Because of your toxic compassion, and you want to affirm everything that they say. It's a mess.
And to add to that, what you and Jessica just said, the problem is they called Jessica all this stuff because she was doing the stuff that they weren't willing to do. She was doing things the right way. Nobody said that Jessica's this big angel or whatever. No. He abided by very basic laws of humanity between men and women that she paid attention to how men thought, and they instilled that in her, so she understood things a different way. That's the same way with me being among women a whole lot. I got a very balanced life when it came to learning, but I was around and observed and listened to and just paid attention to women. So I wasn't nervous around women. I was never ever nervous around women. I was never somebody who just freaked out and forgot what they was gonna say. I was never that guy. But I got to understand and learn how women's dynamic. We never gonna understand women 100%. That's
Never.
not gonna happen.
Say it again.
However,
Never. Say it
we
again.
can recover.
Clearly. No, you gotta say
No.
clearly.
Shut
No,
up,
never.
Maurice.
However, what we can do is we can observe enough, listen enough, pay attention enough to know what not to do in regards to women, and see what works and see what fools do when they rush in and make the mistakes, and then just not do that. Like a lot of the things I learned just from those observations. And to get back to what Jessica said, there was a lot of major life decisions that she made based off of what her grandfather had taught. You said grandfather, right?
Father. Her father.
Father. Based off of what your father taught you. And those things were valuable to her as a woman. You don't have to be masculine to listen. You can still keep your femininity, but actually pay attention to what's being said. She never said that, she never said that Billy was 100% right. She never said that. She never said that they never argue or disagree. She never said that. What she did say, however, is that she can submit to a man who's shown her that he can lead. He means what he says and says what he means. She can depend on what he says. She doesn't have to second guess everything he says out of her mouth. That's what makes it easier for her to do what she's doing and can submit and do whatever, because in his own way, he submits to her as well. But in the way a man is supposed to submit to a woman, it's not going to be the way a woman submits to a man. They're not going to be the same thing. We're wired completely different when it comes to how we look at things and how we put things together and stuff like that. So a lot of the times when women are fighting against the grain and calling women who get it all these other names, oh, she's a pick-me. No, she's not. She just has some wisdom that you refuse to gain because you have no discernment. You made all these mistakes, and now you want to blame everybody else but yourself. You don't want to take any accountability.
Oh, see, this is where this stuff started don't make any sense. How they calling you a pick me when you married?
I wish I knew the answer.
See, this is what
I tell them all the time. I'd rather be a pick me than a skip me, because you got skipped. You single.
Jeffy, you're so disrespectful. You just
I'm disrespectful? No, I'm not. I'm not. But here's the thing, and I do, because y'all know I'm petty.
Oh, I know.
Oh man!
And I tell them all the time.
I gotta write this down.
You write it down.
It's good material.
It's better to be a pick me than a skip me. Write it down. And
that was hot, right?
But here's the thing.
That was hot.
Here's the thing that I express to these. I try to express.
Careful. Be nice now. Be nice. Be kind.
I'm gonna be kind.
These.
You can call me a pick-me, submissive. You can think that I'm sitting in the corner with an apron on and some toenail clippers waiting for my husband to bark demands on me. You can think all of that. But the submissive woman literally runs the fucking house.
They don't understand that.
I am, and I don't mean this against Billy, because let me make sure I say this. Billy is the head of our house. He is the head of his family. Nothing, absolutely nothing goes without him. That is my husband. That is the father of my children. And if anything, he's always going to be good. But because I treat him that way, there is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, that man doesn't do for me or those children or this household. Because I'm not combative. I'm not challenging. I don't splurge his money. I don't waste and spend money on BS. I get everything I want. And y'all know that. Y'all two know that. I live in and I always hate to say it like this, and it's not me trying to like flex. I live in over a $500,000 home. I am a stay-at-home mother for the last 5 years? If I ask that man for something, he does it. No different than when he asks me for something, I do it. So a submissive wife runs the house. Hold on, Billy just does a submissive. Who run this house? He gonna say something stupid, y'all. Hold on. We're talking about a wife that is not combative, that is submissive, does what she's supposed to do. Who runs the house? In all honesty, you can pay all the bills, but who really runs the house? Oh, he's no. I need you to say it louder. No, hold on, wait. No, I need y'all to get this one. Wait, who run it? But I don't mean that in a bad
way.
way.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? I'm the submissive woman, not the submissive woman. No, who's your daddy?
I don't mean it in a bad way. But I be trying to tell women that when you all combative when you all combative and you always got some rah-rah and you don't do what you're supposed to do, after a while the man ain't gonna do what you want him to do.
Yeah, no, it's strange behavior because they already know this man. Standing toe to toe with this man is a bad idea. They know that from the beginning. If I'm gonna stand toe to toe with this man, if this man didn't have the love and care and the respect for you, he'd take you out. You're not gonna stand toe to toe with me and think this is gonna be a even match, right? So they don't want to stand toe to toe. So they know the man is a respectful man. So they go ahead and step toe to toe with him and be combative with him, argue against him in every aspect.
I believe that.
This man
has women who actually do what the fuck they should
Jessica.
do.
Whoa!
Oh, sorry.
Lord. Yeah, you don't want to stand toe to toe with this man. And the man, see, I done forgot what everything I was saying. I'm not blaming nobody. I just forgot. But yeah, you want to stand when you're standing toe to toe with this man. You know he can take you out. But you want to be combative with him, knowing very well as soon as he does it, he's gonna lose that situation in the sight of the eyes of society and everything like that. Yet this man, this man will do whatever you ask him to do. You know it because you've tried it out already. You know what you need to say, but it's a very interesting thing that you'd rather choose to be combative rather than to sit in a feminine mindset and present yourself in a way where you become a counterpart or a complement to the man that you're with. You picked them for a certain reason. You didn't just end up with them by accident.
So, but those are just those are just some of the biggest things when it comes to those type of things. It's always interesting that the people who be barking the most when it comes to when women say things that actually make sense are the ones that's the most things. Like that lady, I don't know if you guys seen the video. She's a very heavy set. She's an overweight chick, and she's been on the internet, and she like without her makeup, she's all dark around her mouth, and she looks like she got a permanent 5 o'clock shadow. And she says that she only dates 6-figure and 7-figure men, and how. And so on a recent show or podcast or whatever it was, she was like, "Hi guys, I'm available. I'm back on the market. Da, 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 da. No ring on my finger." And the comment section exploded, bro. Like the comment section, like let her have it. Like because she talks so much trash about the regular guy. She talks so much trash about guys being beneath her and all this stuff. And I'm sitting here like, you saying you're back on the market for why? Like, ain't nobody asked you that question. Then, quite frankly, nobody really cared. So just because you got some makeup on today, you forgot that we seen you without your makeup all this other time, looking like
hot mess.
Anyway, like, why did you think that it was okay to demean men, and then all of a sudden you popping up on a podcast talking about how available you are? Where's all these 7-figure men lining up to be with you?
Who was that?
I forgot this chick's name, but I forgot this chick's name, but when I find it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
but
some heifer,
and it's like, say again.
Some heifer on the internet.
Yeah. So and the crazy part is that when I say the internet gave her the business, the internet gave her the business.
Yeah.
There's a reason why women like Jessica has been taken and spoken for. Remember when she was saying everybody thought she was olive oil? You know why? Because she didn't show all her bits and pieces. She didn't show all that. There's a reason for that. It's okay. Ain't no man want his wife out there putting herself out there like she's on a meat market advertising for somebody's attention. That's just respect. So when a man sees that you respect him, that's where his love develops. And he's going to show you how much he loves you because of the way you respect him. And a lot of women don't understand that. They don't understand it. And that's the reason why they're going to keep out here putting diarrhea in the dating pool, because of their mentality. I don't care what a woman looks like. If
they can put all the diarrhea they want in
that,
they can put all the diarrhea all they want in the pool.
I'm talking about.
From what I hear, the men are getting out of the pool, man. But yeah. I've seen all these. I don't know if you've seen all these like single mixers, and
the men ain't even showing up.
Men don't show up.
Right. I saw that. Right. I saw one the other day. There was like maybe like 2 or 3 men, and it was like 100 women or something like that.
That's wild.
That's a huge. Ooh.
Like that's gotta be like, if you wanted evidence, man. If you was looking for evidence to say, you know what, maybe I'm fucking up. maybe I'm fucking up somewhere here. Like I said before, I said the example with men. If all women hate you, the problem's not the women. Same thing with this. If all men are avoiding y'all, the problem's not the men.
They act like the men aren't paying attention.
And I want to say this. Sorry, ladies, I can't even defend most of y'all. I can't even defend. Like, I'm the only lady on the panel, and I can't even defend y'all, because y'all be doing the most, and y'all be wanting $200, $300, $500 first dates and shit. I seen somebody said that they got to pick the outfit and buy the outfit for the first date, and y'all do too much. I can see why the men staying the hell home. I stay home too.
Yeah, this is bad assumption that if they raise their appearance of value, like if they raise their standards, that's the word. There's this assumption that if they raise their standards, they'll get a higher quality man. When in reality, you're just showing how wasteful you are
Right.
And the higher quality men actually stay away from you.
Right. I mean, I've even used this real quick. I have even said this to some women who, of course, like we said earlier, call me names. And I'm like, because I think it was one time where it was like the whole Applebee's. Applebee's is not a date. You can't take me to Applebee's. And I'm like, I've been married to my husband for 16 years, and Applebee's was our first damn date. And we had a 1-bedroom apartment. Then we moved to a 2-bedroom apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment. And my husband worked his ass off, and myself included. And now I'm in a beautiful home. So y'all passed up a man because of a first date at Applebee's.
No, you have to understand. All these women, they try to skip the line. You saw the
Yeah,
steps.
no.
Yeah,
And like I said, I didn't go to Applebee's for the food. I went to Applebee's because I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all, right? The night I met him, I was a little tipsy, right? And so when he said I was coming up here to take my mom to the VA hospital because he lived up here, I lived like an hour away, and I was like, hey, I'm in your area. You got some time? You want to have lunch? And he was like, yeah. And I said, well, where's a good meeting spot? He was like, well, I got lunch at such and such a time. There's an Applebee's up the corner. And I was like, I mean, up the street. And I was like, all right, I'll meet you there. Look, I forgot what the dude looked like. I was tipsy that night. But the point being is that I did not go there to have food, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I went there to see if I actually liked this person and if I wanted to have second or third or fourth dates with this person. I don't even think we ordered like food. We just had like appetizers. Like some spinach dip or some shit.
The food is just there because people are social over food.
Yeah.
It's not the purpose of the meeting.
Right. I wasn't going to like, oh my God, I want a steak really bad right now.
Let me call this dude up.
Right. Pretty much. It was like, okay, I want to see what this dude's about. I really, because we had talked, in my defense, we had talked on the phone prior to that, unlike most people these days. And I was like, okay, well, I want to see him in person and see if I really like this dude. And sure enough, we've been together the fuck ever since. And I have 3 beautiful children, a magnificent house, a beautiful life. I can't complain about shit. And, a lot of these women, Applebee's. Well, I have a beautiful life that started at fucking Applebee's, to be honest with you. But you're gonna discredit him because he takes you to Applebee's. You're not supposed to be there because you want a steak or because you want to spend $300 of his money. You're supposed to be there to see if you want another date with the man.
What? So you're trying to say I'm not worth it, Jessica? I'm worth it. Okay.
Look, don't play me. Don't play me. Don't start. Don't start, Maurice.
So I'm,
that's like one of the other dates.
Maybe you're only worth. What do you call it? Maybe you're only worth for 10-2, but I'm worth the steak. Okay, Jessica.
Well, whatever. The best date. The best date we had. We went to Buckrow Beach. That's in Hampton, Virginia. We went to Food Lion. I'll never forget. We went to Food Lion. We bought a case of Corona. We bought some chips and stuff. And we stayed out on the beach all night. And we just talked.
Yeah.
And got to know one another. So we spent what? Case of Corona, some chips. Maybe $30. And it was the best night ever. Like, so when women be saying that, like, yeah, I can't. That's how they be. And I tell women, I said, that's how y'all be missing out on the good men. I said, because the one that's going to go spend $400, if he got $400 to spend on you, he got $400 to spend on the next one. So when he done with you, he going to go spend $400 on the next one and run through her too. You ain't nothing special. What, baby?
You have to. These women, they don't actually care about having a relationship with a man. Because if you care about having a relationship with anybody, one of the first things you're going to do is you want to know who that person is. The concept of actually getting to know who that person is and wanting to actually have a relationship with that person is non-existent. They see these men as accessories. Yeah, it's all these men are accessories. They're a handbag.
ATM.
Yeah,
you mispronounced that. ATMs.
An ATM card is an accessory. I'll back that up with that. But yeah, they see them as accessories in addition to a life, a checkpoint. The only reason I even use this word accessory is because my ex-wife, that's exactly how she was. Every checkpoint in her life was a status accessory. She had to get married. She had to have kids. She had to get a house. And if things weren't flowing according to her time schedule, it was always a problem. And she's the center of the world, and everything revolves around that. And this is how a lot of these women are moving out here. They're the center of their world, and everything needs to revolve around it, especially the man. Right? I always say this: young girls. One of the things that young girls do is they prepare their wedding day. Right? Anybody that's seen little girls play or talk to each other, they prepare their wedding day. They know who's going to be, who all going to be there. They know who all ain't going to be there. They know which pastor is going to be doing it. They know what colors everything's going to be. They know what the place setting is going to be. They know the venue everything's going to be. They have it all planned out, and ain't no man there. They don't know who the man is going to be. You know why? Because when it comes down to it, they just plug them in. They have their fantasy, and then they just plug the man in. It don't matter. It don't matter what he wants. It don't matter who he is. They haven't met the guy yet. But yet they've planned this fantasy, and whatever the man's desires or whatever is irrelevant. He's just gonna fit in somewhere here in the corner where I place him in my diorama. That's where you're gonna fit somewhere there. So it's a pernicious bad habit, and something needs to give. Something needs to give.
Something needs to give. Something needs to give. So all right. So let me do this real fast. Let me do this real fast.
Boom.
Let me do this real fast. Good Lord, this reception, I swear. Okay, well, I guess that went over. Can you still hear me right now?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, good. All right, so first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my dear one, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and her literary company called Meet the World Image Solutions. Guys, for all of your writing, authoring, you're trying to be an author, if you need editing, there's so many more services that her literary company provides for you guys. I would like for you guys to go to www.mtw for Meet the World, mtwimagesolutions.com. Check out the merch. The merch is like that, guys. Go ahead and check out the merch. Go get you yours today, and whatnot. And once again, it's www.mtwimagesolutions.com. That's Meet the World Image Solutions.com. And please go there, because there's a lot of exciting things coming up with Meet the World, and you guys don't want to miss it. Okay. Next thing is Mr. Craves Cookies, where it is a party in your mouth. And I would like for you guys to go to IG at Mr. Craves Cookies, follow, leave a comment, drop me your favorite cookie, like your birthday. Well, we can get into your birthday and all that stuff, but drop something in the comments on any one of my videos and let me know that you saw me here or whatever the case is, so that you guys can really, really take advantage of these things. I have a special guest here today, and it is my oatmeal cream pie. Look at us here. Look at us. Look at this here. Look, ooh, look at that there. Look, man, y'all thought Little Debbie's was good. Y'all ain't tasted Mr. Crave's cookies. Let me tell you, you gonna want that. Also the key lime. These are the two newest additions to the family. I actually just finished doing some Dutch apple pie ones and whatnot. They sold out today. They were made today. So that just gives you an idea of what these things they're delicious. So anyway, and certainly we want to bring Mr. Music himself and whatnot. Let him know where you can find him and his great music and stuff like that. Maurice, what do you got for him in that box over there?
All right. My name is Maurice. As you can see, I got my two little sisters back there. I got a couple of my brothers over here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Got one more over here. One more. Oh shoot! Taking out my whole world here. Bam. I put these are my tools for the musical houses I build on my YouTube channel. So you want to come check me out at Maxi Studio Music, spelled lowercase M-A, capital X, lowercase S-I, Studio Music. Check me out on YouTube and check that spelling. And let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, and comment. I want to hear from y'all.
Y'all heard it here first, folks. And of course, we have the beloved mom, wife, Miss Jessica Fields, in his aisle. You know what I'm saying? She's over here holding it down.
Hey. As always, just come. I'm hoping to try to reach out and expand our audience. Because Dedrick is the host, he is the creator, and I am the helpmeet. So I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of people to try to get additional voices onto the show. Join us every Thursday at 8:30. Sometimes we be a little late, but BPT. And yes, please check out Maurice's music. I enjoy it. It's hard for me to say that because I don't really like him like that. No, I love him. I'm joking. No, seriously, check out his music. It's very relaxing, especially if you like things with guitars, which I absolutely love. So check him out too, and support each other. Oh, and his cookies are really good. My favorite is the apple pie one. That was my favorite, the apple pie one. Yeah, apple pie. So yeah, let's support one another.
Awesome sauce.
Let's support one another and just keep showing up.
Thank you. Now, did Bill go back? I mean, will Billy go back upstairs?
Yeah, he back upstairs.
Billy went to find his bed.
Okay.
Yeah, he said I'm tired. He went back upstairs.
All right, so let's send
everybody. He like y'all. I don't know how y'all men do it. Y'all could just lay down and fall asleep. I be mad as shit at y'all. Just y'all lay down. I got to do like 12 pillow flops and 17 rollovers before I fall asleep.
Y'all need to find peace in your life.
Well,
I guess.
Right.
I guess. That man can fall asleep standing up. So I don't know. It's just something about him. But it's all right.
Hey, look. When
we
get comfortable,
that you gave him a home that he can do that in. How about that?
Thank you. I like the way you put that.
How about that?
You're trying to get brownie points. You about to say something stupid.
That's exactly right.
Maurice gives and Maurice takes away. That's how we do it.
That's right. He giveth and he taketh away. So I know it's gonna come. It's gonna come back to bite me. It's all right. It's good.
That's all right. The love nibble. That's what love nibbles.
That's right.
That's too funny. That's too funny. But so we're gonna wrap this session up. Go ahead and say your final take. Maurice, what's your final take on this? Yeah.
And I'm gonna finish what I started off with. If you fundamentally disagree with when two people fundamentally disagree, really that fundamentally is very important. When two people fundamentally disagree, there's only two options: submission or separation. And to add to that, based off the conversation we had here, that separation aspect is on a gradient, it's on a dial. You gotta be able to figure out how you're gonna separate, what you're gonna separate, to what degree you're gonna separate, with who you're gonna separate, when you're gonna separate it, why you're separating. It gets complicated, but the base level of that is separation or submission. Now that person could submit, you could submit. And that's submission is a whole nother other conversation that I don't want to get into right now. But
Right.
That's the only way you can deal with toxic people. And going back to what I was saying earlier, that you really gotta spend that time with yourself. You know, some of y'all are extroverted out here, and time alone is torturous for y'all. I get it. But you need that time with yourself, figure out who the heck you are, or else people are gonna run all over you, or you're gonna run into situations and you'll be your worst enemy. So you want to deal with toxic people? I promise you, there's toxicity in you. You got to figure out first.
All right. Miss Fierce.
To kind of piggyback off of what he just said, because I like what he said, we need to take time to ourselves. And a lot of times we are so engulfed with everything that's going on in the world or in our families' lives or our loved ones. We're so busy. We're running here, we're running there, we're doing this, we're doing that. I'm by myself a lot. I mean, a lot. And I love it because it gives me the chance and the opportunity to know and grow who I am and what I want and what I expect. And that's why it's very hard for people to cross my boundaries because I spend that time within myself. Again, I like how you put that. Like we have to really take time to ourselves, not going out with people, not being around the family all the time. And I understand that sometimes that can be a difficult thing to do, but I think that it's very important to do. And once you start to do that and you start to separate yourself from people, you will realize that the world is a lot bigger than what it actually is and what your purpose is on this world in the time that you have here. And you can start to make better decisions on what you are supposed to do. As far as the initial conversation, as far as toxicity, I stand with what I said that a lot of times we look at the red flags as the obvious, but we neglect that there are red flags that might not be so obvious, but should be obvious. So we need to start paying attention to those things as well. And then as far as the last segment, as far as submission, I stand by what I say as well. Look, damn it. And Billy said it. Look, submissive does not mean you're sitting in a corner waiting for your husband to tell you to clip his toenails and make his dinner. It just means simply that you are cooperative, that you're not combative, that you discuss things, and that you respect your husband. And I promise you, when you do those things, your husband is he's going to reciprocate that like 100 times over, because there is nothing on this planet that I cannot get out of my husband. And I don't mean that in a bad way or like I'm using him. It's just because I am a wife and I do everything that I am supposed to do as a wife, that the moon he will go and get for me. I mean, it just is what it is. And I think that the sooner that some of us women realize that the better off we'll be. And I respect the patriarch, and I've said that many times before. I love the patriarch. I respect them, whether it's a brother, cousin, uncle, husband, father. They're here for a purpose. We're supposed to be a balance. There's a man and a woman for a reason, because we balance one another. And when we work together with one another, life actually starts to make sense and things go well. When we combat that and we say that we don't need the patriarch, or even the men who say they don't need the matriarch, so it goes both ways, that's when the disconnect comes. And that's where things start to go wrong. So that's my final take.
All right. And I agree with everything you guys have said 100%. Whatnot. Even if I wanted to find something wrong with what Marjorie said, I can't.
This time, y'all be looking hard, man. I'm telling you, geez. Y'all be really like working overtime.
But seriously, I can't disagree with anything they've said. Still, I really can't, because you guys have really just pretty much nailed it today, and whatnot. And I 100% agree, and whatnot. And just in closing, guys, like, really, first of all, find yourself first. You know, look within yourself to really know who you are. A lot of you have a very hard time doing that, and I realize that. A lot of people don't have the support that some of us do. Some people are not surrounded by a lot of positive people or a lot of forward-thinking people. Some of them are very, very destructive in the way that they handle their loved ones and stuff like that. And you have to take inventory on that. And that literally influences how they view love, how they receive love, and it will ultimately, change how they give it. Because a lot of the times people change themselves when they're not appreciated, when they're not loved correctly, when they're not respected, when people tear them down. So I urge you to be very, very careful not to lose yourself. But some of you who are very close to losing yourself, I urge you, don't lose yourself. Keep fighting for you. Keep giving yourself these positive affirmations. If you're looking around for that change or that help from other people, find it in yourself. And if you are to the point to where the depression has taken you to a very, very low place, I need you to talk to somebody. I need you to search for those things on YouTube and university. You know what I'm saying? Search for it. If you got to pull it out of wherever you got to search, go to Chat GPT, pull it out. I need some positive affirmations for myself because I'm feeling very, very down. Literally, Chat GPT will pop up some affirmations to help you recite to yourself audibly every single day to try to instill that stuff inside of you. I don't care what you got to do, because I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people don't care. They really don't care, and it's sad, but that's just the God honest truth. A lot of people are self-centered. They're looking at what benefits them, and then what they can take away from you, especially when they see that they feel like you're a threat, or if they don't like when your confidence rises, they want to knock you down and all this other stuff. Don't allow someone. And it sounds like I'm saying that it's simple. No, it's not simple. It's not easy sometimes. But don't allow anybody to steal your joy. You have to refuse to let somebody else's opinions to become your reality. That's just the God honest truth. And so with that being said, stay encouraged, keep your head up and stuff like that. Limit people's access to you when you know that they're toxic. If they're in your close proximity all the time, and I think y'all know what I mean, you're gonna have to try to create some kind of way or boundary or set some kind of boundary so you don't enable them to do that to you, and stuff like that. So with that being said, I'm gonna shut my mouth. I can be
Hold
long.
on, real quick. I want to add to what you
But
just said.
yes.
Real quick.
Okay.
Also, be very aware of the people closest to you, because sometimes the people closest to you are your worst enemies. Move in silence. Do what you gotta do. If sometimes your worst enemy is the person that you think is closest to you. I'm not saying that your best friend hates you or anything like that, but sometimes when we are making moves to prosper and do better, people get jealous of that and they don't want to see you rise above them. So sometimes they may not encourage you. They may not back you the way that you would think a friend would. So if you start to see those kinds of things where a person starts to discourage you, and that's like, let's say your best friend, and it's like, oh, well, you can't do that, or I don't think that's possible. Be wary of that person. I'm just saying, be leery of that person, I should say. And I mean, if it's factual, like they're actually giving you facts, like, okay, because of XYZ, this is not possible, but let's try ABC, then that might be a friend. But some people will just really try to diminish your dream and your hopes and what you're trying to do because they don't want to see you rise above them.
Absolutely. And so with that being said, she summed it up perfectly. I want to say I appreciate you guys for stay tuned next Thursday, 8:30 and whatnot, Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much. This has been Soul Flow Conversations. Thank you guys so much.
This chick, man.
I know.